Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, Subriel Matias, man, Jay, he is talking his talk. He's talking about not only Devin Haney, but he's also talking about Teofimo Lopez. And what he had to say, Jay, is this. Teofimo Lopez is a coward, and Devin Haney isn't exactly what it is that he thinks. So, let's dig into it. So, we know that Teofimo Lopez supposedly offered Subriel Matias a fight. I think it was in February that he wanted to fight. And Subriel Matias is claiming that Teofimo only offered the fight because he knew that he was already injured. Now, from what I understand, based off of a report from Michael Benson, these two individuals were in negotiations to fight in June, which I gave Teofimo a lot of credit for. But when you hear the response for Subriel Matias talking about Teofimo Lopez as a coward, it would suggest that he's only doing that for show. Now, would I believe that that's beyond the realm of possibilities relative to Teofimo Lopez? I wouldn't, because, you know, although I believe Teo is an excellent fighter, I do believe that Teo does want to smoke at 140 pounds. Teo sometimes says things that are, you know, just don't make a whole lot of sense. Like, I'm two-time undisputed and all that stuff, where you weren't undisputed at 135 pounds. You're not undisputed at 140, regardless of beating Josh Taylor. You're not undisputed. So, you know, when you say things like that that are just not true, then people start to question other things you say. But also the fact that he fought Josh Taylor, who was a dangerous opponent at 140 pounds, I just kind of feel like, you know, Teo does want to smoke, and so I can give him credit for that. But for whatever reason, Matias feels like, you know, he's a coward, that, you know, he could have offered to fight at a time in which he knew that Matias would be able to get healed. And that would also suggest that maybe the June fight is not actually something that's going to come to fruition based off of his comments. Yeah. Now, when he started talking about Devin Haney, he didn't really talk to the fact that Bill Haney mentioned that an offer had been made to Matias. And I don't know if that's a situation where Matias is not necessarily close enough to the details or what. I have no idea. But he did say that he would like to get into the ring with Devin Haney to show him that he's not who he believes he is. Now, I have said that I believe, and this is my opinion, and I believe that this is a positive, Jay, that the Haney camp, they're very strategic in terms of how they move, right? So they're fighting the right fights. They're putting Devin in the best position to be successful. The fights are both entertaining, dangerous to some extent, but also the fighter, for the most part, is a good matchup for Devin. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, because at some point, Devin's going to take very risky fights too, where the opposition is not necessarily a fighter that matches up extremely well with Devin Haney or has an attribute that would make Devin the favorite in the fight. So I can't be mad at Bill Haney or Devin Haney for how they move. I actually appreciate that, because I think any good team is going to be strategic in regards to the fighter that they're supporting and the career path that they're taking. So let me be clear, because somebody mentioned this in our live stream that comes on every Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you have the opportunity, please check that out. But somebody else mentioned in that live stream that Tank, you're trying to say that Tank is a strategic? And I'm saying, yes, Tank's team is also they're absolutely very strategic in how they move. And you should be. You should be. That is a good thing. Bill Haney and what he's doing for his fighter and his son is a good thing. I appreciate that. But regardless, that's what they're doing. And so what Matias is basically saying is that, yo, I see the strategy in what you're doing, and I'm going to show everybody that you're not what you are perceived to be. And I can respect that too, Jay. So what's your thoughts on what Matias is saying? We hear that he's the boogeyman of the division. It feels like he's the boogeyman of the division. And until somebody actually signs on the dotted line to actually face Matias, he is the boogeyman of the division. So what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I get him, you know, especially with his rumor that Teo only offered him the contract after they knew he was already hurt. You know, that's some sucker stuff right there. You know, if you already know it, you just doing it just so you can say you did it. And then you can point the finger like, hey, we're not getting the fight because of you. You know, well, you knew I was hurt already from the get-go, so why you offering me a contract right now? It's like offering us a contract when trying to talk to someone they already in contract to fight someone that's signed, sealed, and delivered. You know, it's useless. So I get him on that. You know, I also get him on the Devin stuff, because Devin has never really talked about Matias fighting him. For the most part at 140, no one's really talking about Matias. Everyone talked about fighting everyone else. Oh, I'll fight Regis. I'll fight Teo. Of course, I'll fight Rolly. No one really talked about that other champion at 140, which was Matias. And now regarding Teo, I give Teo all the credit in the world for what he did to Josh Taylor. Now we know Josh Taylor was struggling to make 140. Based on his last couple of fights, we know Josh Taylor didn't look good against Jack Catterall and arguably lost that fight to some people. People didn't like the fact that he didn't give Jack a rematch. But Teo still went in there handling his own business, because Teo didn't look good against his last fight prior to Josh Taylor neither, against Sandor Martin. So they're both coming off stinkers, and most of us, me included, I thought Teo was going to lose that fight against Josh Taylor. Teo went in and put on a hell of a show. He showed this Teo right here is a tough person to beat. I don't know it's going to take a lot to get Teo up out of there as far as beating him. I think Subriel Matias could be that dude because he got the power. The only thing, Subriel Matias stands right in front of you a lot, so that could be easy pickings for Teo as well. So that'll be interesting if they were to fight. I know they're talking about rumors. Matias said something about fighting in like June or something like that. Let's make it for then, but Teo's rumored to be fighting in February, but we'll see as more comes out later end of this year, early next year. As far as Devin, I give Matias all the credit in the world for wanting to fight Devin. Devin put on a phenomenal show against Regis. He dominated that fight. He did stuff that I was questionable. I thought he would dominate as far as from a boxing standpoint, but the way he was putting his punches together, actually hurting Regis surprised me. I didn't think he'd be able to hurt Regis that many times, and the way he did, And then Devin, I don't believe when he said he pulled back, he wasn't hitting as hard as he could. I think you were. I think you were in some of those punches that you did hurt him with on that, but it'll be a phenomenal fight between him. I give him credit wanting to fight someone like Devin, who's highly skilled, who's going to be, I think, a tougher out, because Devin doesn't rely on his power. He relies on his IQ and his boxing skill. I think that's a tougher out, because someone's just got power, or a lot of power. They're going to rely on that. You can pretty much see it coming for a lot of times if you're a good fighter yourself. So I give Matias all the credit in the world for wanting to look at Devin and try to prove he knows he beat Devin, because Devin's on a win streak. Devin's on a high right now, man. Devin's hot right now. Teo was hot for beating Josh Taylor, but Devin has beaten Kambosos twice, gone over Australia, took all the belts, beat Loma, and then just manhandled someone that was considered possibly the boogeyman at 140 in Regis program. So I see why he's going at Devin, and he gets a fight with Devin before he fights Teo. I'd be happy with either one of those fights or to materialize in the middle of next year.
Yeah, man. I'd be happy to see that fight as well. And at the end of the day, or any of those fights, to be quite honest with you, and we'll see what ends up materializing between those three individuals. My personal thought is, if anybody's going to fight Matias, it's going to be Teo at this point, because I think there's options for Devin Haney in regards to Gervonta Davis, if they can possibly make that fight, or Ryan Garcia, or he can move up to 147 pounds. So we'll see what ends up happening. But you guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to the comments from Subriel Matias. Is Teofimo a coward? Is Devin Haney, or maybe Devin Haney, not what we believe he is? That's what Subriel Matias is saying. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and we are out.